So these are going to be our last problems that we did not finish yesterday. So our first problem states that Ken worked 4 hours more each day than Jill does. That will be our first equation once we figure out the rest of the information. Then they say Jack worked 2 hours less each day than Jill does. That's going to be another equation about Jack. Then they state it over 2 days. So this is where this over 2 days in the chart comes in. The number of hours Kim worked is equal to the difference of 4 times the number of hours Jack worked and the number of hours Jill worked. That green equation is a lot like what we did yesterday, where we were going Mari plus Carlos plus Amanda equals the number of stamps they have. But this one's a little bit more complicated. So what they're telling us in that green equation is basically, it says the number of hours Kim worked. So we have Kim is equal to, they say that, the difference. So we have something's different, something's being subtracted. Let's see what is going to be subtracted. They said the difference between 4 times the numbers Jack works. So that's one thing. So 4 times Jack and the number of hours Jill worked. So minus Jill. That's that equation that we're going to be using. We will need to figure out what Kim's equation is, what Jack's equation is, and what Jill's equation is. But if you notice, they stated that we're going to be let X be the number of hours Jill worked in one day. So that means Jill will be X. Sorry. Now we're going to go back and look at Kim's equation. And they said Kim worked 4 hours more each day than Jill does. So we know that Kim is Jill plus 4 more hours. Then they said Jack worked 2 hours less each day than Jill does. So now we're at Jack's equation, 2 hours less than Jill. So we have Jill, which is X, minus the 2 hours. Now we're going to go and look at the 2 days. These equations right here are for 1 work day. But we're talking about now 2-hour work days, because this information about Kim is equal to 4 times Jack minus Jill is after over 2 days. So that means we're going to multiply these equations by 2. So now we're going to have 2 times the X plus the 4, which gives us 2X plus 8. We're going to have 2 times that X, which is going to give us 2X. And we're going to have 2 being multiplied by X minus 2. So that's going to give us 2X minus 4. These are the equations that we're going to substitute into for Kim, for Jack, and for Jill. So now we know that Kim is going to be 2X plus 8. And we're going to substitute Jack's equation. So Jack is 2X minus 4. So we're going to have the 4 times the 2X minus 4 minus Jill, which is just 2X. We're going to distribute that 4 in there, and we're going to have 2X plus 8 is equal to 8X minus 16 minus 2X. We're going to combine our like terms right there. So we're going to have 2X plus 8 is equal to 6X minus 16. I'm going to go a little faster because all of you should know how to solve an equation by now. So I'm going to subtract the 6X from both sides. And I'm going to have negative 4X plus 8 is equal to negative 16. Subtract the 8 to the right side. That becomes 0. I'm going to have negative 4X on the left side. That becomes negative 24. Divide both sides by negative 4. And we're going to get that X is going to be 6 hours. So this right here is Ian. So, Jill. So Jill worked for 6 hours. If I know that X is 6, so 6 plus 4 is 10 hours. So that's Kim worked for 10. X is 6. 6 minus 2, that's 4 hours. So Jack worked for 4 hours. And now all I have to do is write my sentence. And then that means this is my final answer. For our last one is, it says, Lisa is 10 centimeters taller than her friend Ian. Ian is 14 centimeters taller than Jim. And every month, their height increases 2 centimeters. That's going to be very important. 2 centimeters every month. Okay. So, but they also say the next part is after 7 months. So 7 months have gone by, and now they say in 7 months, the sum of Ian and Jill's height will be 170 centimeters more than Lisa's height. That piece right there is our equation that we're going to substitute other information into. So now they say if we add Ian and Jim's height, they will be, that means equals to 170 centimeters more than Lisa. Okay, and that information is for after 7 months. So this, the 2 and the 7 right here, we're going to be using that information here because they grow up 2 centimeters every 7 months. So let's just write that information down. So 2 centimeters every 7 months. Though that means they grow 14 centimeters in that month. So whatever equation we plug here, we're going to add the 14 to it. So whatever we put in here, we're going to add 14. Over here, we're going to add 14 to it. And that will give us our new equation that we're going to use in the bottom. Ian plus Jim equals 170 plus Lisa. Now let's go back and figure out what we're trying to find. They say on the last sentence, how tall is Ian? So we're going to say, then that's how we're going to define it. So let's say X is equal to Ian's height. Okay, so we know that Ian is going to be X. You're always going to have one person or in the situation to be just a variable. The other two are going to be made up of that variable. That means that specific person. And you're going to see that that is true because it says Lisa is 10 centimeters taller than Ian. So Ian plus 10 more is Lisa's height. Well, now the one that is very tricky is this one right here because you really have to think logically. Because it says Ian is 14 centimeters taller than Jim. So we're talking about Jim's height. So we know that if you have Ian is 14 centimeters taller, you don't want to go Ian's height plus 14 more. That means you're adding a foot and 2 inches on Ian's height, and that's not what we want. So what we're basically doing right here is we're going to subtract because we're saying it's Ian is 14, that Jim is 14 inches smaller than Ian. So that's our equation. So don't get confused on that little part, that blue part. Now we're going to figure out this part. We're going to add the x10, and that means my new equation is going to be x plus 24. When I add x there, this new equation is going to be x plus 14. And when I have x minus 14, these will go away, and now Jim becomes just the x. Now I'm going to these are the things that I'm going to be substituted into this equation because this is for after 7 months. So now that I do that, I'm going to say, okay, so Ian is x plus 14 right here. So we're going to have x plus 14 is Ian plus Jim, which is going to just be x plus 170 plus Lisa, which is x plus 24. And now you just have an equation where you could combine like terms and all that information. So these two are like terms on the left side. So we have 2x plus 14. These two are like terms. So we know that 170 plus 24, that's 194 plus x. We're going to subtract the x to the left side because we want to solve for the variable. So all the variables go to one side, anything that has a number on the other side. So we're going to have x plus 14 is equal to 194 minus 14 on both sides. We're going to have x is equal to 180. This is centimeters. So we know that Ian's height is 180 centimeters. So that is that final answer. And I believe I made a mistake in first period. So guys, if you see the video, go back and fix it. I apologize. My mistake was that I did not see the 2. I didn't circle it or highlight it, and I made a mistake. So I apologize about that.